Imagine standing on the African savanna 3 million years ago with absolutely nothing on. Your skin is exposed, your fur is gone, and the midday sun is turning your back into a literal sunburned disaster. Why did humans start wearing clothes? It wasn't a fashion statement. It was a desperate biological necessity that changed the course of our evolution. To understand why we cover up, we have to look at the great hair loss. About 2 to 3 million years ago, early hominids like Homo habilis began losing their thick fur. Why? Sweating. As we moved from forests to open grasslands, we started hunting during the heat of the day. To keep our brains from overheating, we evolved millions of sweat glands. Fur would have just trapped that moisture and caused us to boil. We traded our fur coats for a cooling system. But there was a trade-off. Without hair, we were defenseless against the sun's ultraviolet radiation and the biting cold of the night. For a long time, we likely compensated by finding shade, using mud as a primitive sunscreen, or huddling together. But eventually, we started moving. We left Africa, we entered the Middle East, then Europe, then Asia. We ran into environments where the temperature plummeted. In the Ice Ages, naked skin was a death sentence. So, when did we actually start stitching skins together? We don't have a preserved wool sweater from 50,000 years ago. Skin decays. But we have a secret biological witness. Meet Pediculus humanus corporis. That's the body louse. Unlike head lice, which live on hair, body lice have evolved to live in the fibers of clothing. They lay their eggs on fabric. By comparing the DNA of body lice to head lice, geneticists can calculate when they split into two separate species. That split happened roughly 83,000 to 170,000 years ago. This tells us that humans were wearing clothes at least 100,000 years ago, and likely much earlier. As we moved into colder climates, we needed more than just a draped pelt. We needed tailored gear. This is where the invention of the sewing needle becomes a pivot point in human history. The oldest needles we have discovered are bone needles from the Upper Paleolithic period. They date back about 40,000 years, found in places like the Denisova cave in Siberia. These weren't just shards of bone. They were polished, eyed, and precision-engineered. With needles, clothing changed from a simple blanket to a fitted suit of armor. We could make parkas. We could make boots. We could trap heat against the body. This invention allowed us to push into the Arctic Circle and survive the last glacial maximum, when massive ice sheets covered much of North America and Europe. Without the needle, we would have been stuck in the tropics. We are a species that conquered the globe not by growing thick coats, but by building them. But clothing did more than keep us warm. It changed our social structure. Before clothes, your status was written on your body. How strong you were. How healthy your skin looked. How much body fat you carried. Clothing created a barrier. It introduced the concept of the private self. We could hide our vulnerability. We could signify group identity. If you saw someone wearing a specific type of hide or decoration, you knew instantly if they were friend, foe, or traitor. Clothing became a signal. It became a language. By 30,000 years ago, we see evidence of beads, shells, and dyed fibers. We weren't just wearing clothes for survival anymore, we were wearing them to communicate. Think about that for a second. We took the skins of other animals and transformed them into a secondary skin for ourselves. We outsourced our survival to our technology. Today, we take it for granted. We walk into a store and buy a shirt. But for most of human history, clothing was the primary technological barrier between us and an indifferent, freezing planet. Every time you pull on a jacket, you are participating in a tradition that is over 100,000 years old. You are utilizing a tool that allowed your ancestors to hunt mammoths, navigate glacial winds, and eventually populate every corner of the earth. But as we look at the history of clothing, we have to ask, what comes next? We've turned clothing into a massive global industry, a form of self-expression, and a status symbol. But we've also reached a point where the production of this artificial skin is putting a massive strain on the real skin of the planet. We are still that same human from the savannah. We are still just trying to keep the cold out. The question is, as we continue to layer our lives in technology and artifice, are we still as connected to the world we inhabit, or have we stitched ourselves into a reality of our own design?